could be ambiance.
All right, well, here we go. This is Rise Up and Carve, and there are several of us who were at Pat Diette, Clipknocky Woods on Instagram. He holds an annual gathering at his place in July. Actually, it used to be, I think, Labor Day weekend, and then last year he moved it to July. And so we actually had 7 of us from Rise Up and Carve who were there this year. Today we've got 4 of us who were there on here, and we're just going to kind of share some stories and some discussion about our experiences there. I guess maybe to kick it off, why don't we kind of set the lay of the land? Let me share my screen, and I'll share some photos real quick, and then we'll ask especially the new guys who hadn't been there before for their impressions. And that's not an impression of Pat, that's your impressions of the experience.
My impression is that he's awesome.
Indeed. So, Glenn, are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so this here is the infamous Pat Cave. When you drive in, that's pretty much what you'll see. This is the driveway. It continues on up into the fields off to the side, and that's where all the camping area was out there. As you come around the edge of the building, you can see he had it staked out so that Roscoe, his hound, would have a bathroom area over here. So it was to warn everybody not to tread over there. Here's our bathrooms, our porta potties for the weekend. Fangster, hey!
Hey!
So we have 5 of us here now who were there. That's my tent back there. I got there Wednesday, probably right around noon on Wednesday, about 5 minutes before Roy Rock pulled in. James and Jason, you guys pulled in late afternoon, early evening, I think. And then this is Pat's house, and that's the driveway that you come up. And so the Pat Cave is back here to the right on this photo. And so that's sort of the general lay of the land. You can see off to the side here, this is the kitchen area where we had a bunch of, gas burning, propane stoves. We had some dishwashing station. We have around further behind the corner, I have other pictures somewhere I'd have to go find. You've got the campfire area. Here's another broad sort of pano of the camping area off to the side. So the building is over here to the right in this photo. And let's see, let me just quickly jump down, see if I can find my shots of the campfire area real quick in the kitchen from outside. Wow. Where'd all my other photos?
Lord.
There it is. So this is the fire pit. There's Roscoe, or Roscoe P. Dog, as I refer to him. Picnic table, people would set their chairs up around here. That's the firewood for the fire pit. And that's sort of that's our covered cooking area. So that's sort of the general lay of the land. So I guess one thing that you can see on the concrete walls outside, guess who that's a picture of from last year? Mr. Yerkes himself. Anyway, before I go delving into all of this, let me jump back out. And so I guess, why don't we let James and Jason, this was your first time there, right? So you want to give your general impressions?
Go ahead, Jason. It was just a good time. I mean, I think would be like the most general. It was, if you were, it's like camping with friends, but people you've never met before.
Exactly. Jason, you're muted if you want to say anything. Matt, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to mute you.
Okay.
Pat's hospitality is second to none. I mean, from the time you showed up, he was very accommodating, welcoming. This is what's going on. This is that. from the time you're just sitting there carving with him. He engaged in conversation with everybody. Like, I mean, phenomenal entertainer, phenomenal host. Just his family, all stellar, genuine folks. It was just a pleasure to be there. It was super enjoyable. It wasn't like a spoon gathering, like, you know, where you go and it's amongst all. I mean, he's welcoming you into his house, and you felt that way from the time you showed up to the time you regretfully had to leave. It was a great experience.
Yeah, I would totally agree. Last year was my first time getting to go, and it was the fourth one that he'd done. And I really regret that I wasn't able to go the previous 3 years, because it's definitely after, especially after, you know, my 2 times there, this has become sort of the highlight of my Sloyd year, if you will. So just for those who've never been before, last year, if I had to guess, I would say there were probably a total of about 35 people, maybe a little more, maybe a little, I don't know, somewhere around 35. Matt, would you, well, I've got you muted, so don't worry about it. But I would say it was about 35 people or so last year over the course of the, you know, like 5 days. It was Wednesday through Sunday. This year it was supposed to be Thursday through Sunday, but Pat said, if you want to come early, come early. If you want to stay late, stay late. He'd probably let you stay there an entire week if you wanted to. Like Jason said, he's extremely accommodating. His family really went all out to take care of making sure that we all had water, that we had everything we needed, that, you know, if there were, you know, any, you know, questions, issues, concerns, they were Johnny on the spot to help you out. So I guess let's see, how do we want to do this? Do we want to, how would you, well, I guess let's do this. Let's get some shots from inside the Pat Cave. Let me scroll down and I'll just kind of try and show, where was it? I have like a,
There was the swimming hole.
There we go.
I just missed that.
Yeah, I'll go back to it. So this is sort of a shot looking, the cave, it's a big 2-car garage plus, and it goes super deep. So there's a wall right here that sort of divides the 2 sides from the halfway mark back. On the one side was sort of where he has all of his storage and his old shop equipment. Pat used to be a carpenter and, you know, working in the trades. And so he has a lot of equipment that, you know, he's got stored back there. This was sort of the refrigerator that was there for everybody to store their food items, their, you know, cold beer and ale, whatever. The whole area is pretty much wide open for everybody to just plant themselves and find a spot to call home for the days that we were there. Mr. Antonucci, the face. We call him the face because he handed out these stickers. At least I call him the face. Whoa, knocking stuff down here. He handed out these stickers. I don't know if you can see it on the camera there in the.
Oh.
And it's literally just a giant sticker of his face. So yeah, so that's him. So that's another shot. We got a table set up here where you could organize stuff. In behind here is where all that storage area was.
So he just walks up to you and says, "Hey, here's a picture of my face as a sticker," and you go,
pretty much, yeah. He was funny. He's from New Jersey. There was Pat.
So wasn't there something with the sticker that anytime like you were asked, like, what's the sticker? What's the man with the face? What's that? Like, you had to come up with a story. You just had to completely make up a story as to the sticker, the guy with the face. Like, you just had to come up with something. So that was part of the fun behind.
And it had to be a lie.
That's right.
So it was more than just like, here's my face, take this. It was very fitting for the gentleman once you got to know him over the course of the weekend.
Exactly. So this is on the right side. This is where Pat pretty much had everybody putting all their spoons and their treenware out. There's another table over to the right here, up more towards the front. And so yeah, so that's pretty much the Pat cave. His sort of trademark painted stumps, his axe blocks. This is that other table. So bunch of Jared and Matt and Steve Antonucci and the kid from Ohio. He had his stuff out here. Riley, that's right. So there's
a huge indoor area to be devoted to Sloyd. Does he set that up like that year round, or does he normally have something parked in there?
No, I think he does have a tractor, so he probably parks the tractor in there normally. But this is also, sort of, I think, where he does during the not so cold months. This is the Sloyd cave where he does his carving, or he'll sit out by the campfire, I think. I mean, I don't know, Matt, you might know him better.
It's an old mechanics shop.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a double deep 2-car garage.
Yeah.
So you could actually put 4. It's like at least 4 cars. You could fit 4 vehicles in there.
Wow.
Yep.
With no problem. And then there's also like a small shed. And actually, it's not a small shed. It's a reasonable sized shed that's
that
even
door
on the side of that.
Yeah, this door over here on the left leads into like a small side, area.
Wow.
One of my favorite things is he always has these, 55-gallon drums of like the 1-inch or 2-inch cutoffs.
Yeah.
After and like, I like cooking over the campfire. I mean, Pat's got so many very just common sense, wonderful aspects of how his life kind of, nothing goes to waste. One thing feeds into the next.
I'm impressed with the size of that garage, because from his pictures on Instagram, it always looks like he's in a tiny dark space.
Well, in a lot of those cases, he's actually in his cellar.
Correct.
Which is in his home.
Okay.
Because there's no heat in that garage during the winter. And, not this year, but previous years. I mean, we were up there in July, and you'd wake up in the morning and it would be, 35 degrees.
Wow.
And,
yeah.
But by lunch, it could be 85.
Is he in elevation? He's in a mountain somewhere?
He's in a valley.
He's in a valley, and he's not. I think the elevation where he is maybe 1,000 feet above sea level. So it's not like it's like way up. He's just in this weird spot where the cold just concentrates right there.
Right. Because I remember in the Scouts in the mountains, you'd wake up and put on a sweatshirt, and then by like noon, you were boiling hot. I thought it was
exactly. That's
well, and it was boiling hot when we were there. Thursday, Friday was hotter than hell. And then Saturday, I think it started probably around 1 o'clock, noon, 1 o'clock, something like that. It just downpoured all afternoon and evening until probably about 9, 10 o'clock at night.
So Chuck, were you the first one there?
How many people slept wet that night?
Yeah.
How many people slept wet?
I didn't. My area actually stayed dry. I threw an extra tarp over my tent and staked it down just to try and help ward the water away so it wouldn't collect right up by my tent.
I'm curious how Tom slept that night with his makeshift blowaway tarp that just kept disappearing in the wind, and he was just sleeping in the back of his truck with like a sheet of plywood over it on the ladder rack. His tarp blew away at least twice.
Wow.
I don't think he slept too much.
That's a shame.
Chuck,
Yeah.
your excitement for the event is pretty obvious throughout the year. And when he said come early, were you carefully in your head calculating how early would be okay?
I was
You're like,
actually, I was
What about
also,
Tuesday? Could I get there on Tuesday?
I was trying to balance between that's like how much paid time off do I have left, and how much do I need for Christmas and Thanksgiving with the family, and
If you got there a whole day early, I'm sure you could sit in the shop and carve with them during the day, right? You'd be the only one in
Yeah.
there with them.
yeah, no, that's pretty much what we did all afternoon. We
Yeah,
sat there and carved, me and Roy and Pat, and yeah, it was nice.
You, Roy, and Pat, I feel like that's your dream, man, based on
It-
conversation I hear during the year.
Totally, it totally was.
It should be everybody's dream.
First time Chuck had wood in years.
Hey, Dominic.
Hey, good to see you.
Dominic, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, good to see you, Kevin. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. We're in the middle of this presentation and we're recording.
Yes, so don't say anything untoward.
Guten Tag.
So, let's see, what else? So what should we talk about?
I want to hear.
What was your
What was your
takeaway?
favorite
Chuck?
piece you came away with?
Favorite piece?
Yes.
Okay, oh, that's a tough one, man. You're putting me on the spot. I don't like that.
How about your two favorite pieces then?
Nah, I'm gonna have to go a few more in that because I gotta tell you, I came away with a lot.
Eating.
All right. See ya.
And I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So I will have to say that probably my number one favorite piece and the very first thing I grabbed off the table, I was really happy to get there at the same time Roy got there with all of his stuff being put out because I got first dibs. So that's probably my number one.
That's beauty.
And it is just a spectacular cup.
Have you drank out of it yet?
I have indeed, and I love it. Now, like these are going to be in no particular order because I love every one of them, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So, this bowl by our own Martin, absolutely lovely bowl. I was so excited to grab this.
I bought that one myself.
And this cup by Martin also. And I had asked Martin specifically, I told him that I was really looking forward to getting a mug. And after holding the mug and holding this cup, I love the texture on this cup so much that I was like, you know what? The handle on a mug is less important to me than the texture on this cup. Plus green is my favorite color. So I was like, I gotta grab this. So yeah, so I absolutely love this cup. And
I'm glad you do. That cup's inspired by Yoav Kafetz.
yeah,
And I've tried that a number of times. He makes those columns or he makes that gouge work
yeah,
look so flawless and so easy. And that was like my third one attempting that, and that was like the first one where I kind of got things straight. And even though I kind of got things straight, I learned a lot during that process. It's amazing the work that Yoav does, and because of the difference there. So that cup has a layer of yellow paint. I think it's actually mustard, and then it's covered in peacock, which is one of the green paints, and then just rubbed back so that the mustard kind of shows through. So it's two-tone and shows a lot of, as you can see, the tool marks, which is one of the things that I find most wonderful about pole lathe turned objects.
yeah. I agree. Spectacular work, and I am very, very thrilled to be the owner. And then beyond that, in the spoon realm, I also quickly grabbed these two serving spoons by Mr. Roy Rock that just have spectacular faceting on the back. and they're just such long, beautiful, clean forms. It's also tiger or kind of that flame maple, which I'm a sucker for that wood anyway. And his faceting work on these handles, those long tapered facets, they're to die for.
I love long handled cooking and serving spoons that have octagonal handles.
Yep. And then 2 more Roy Rock spoons that are probably the best eating spoons I think that I've got in terms of for mouthfeel for me. The handles are nice, but they're not my favorite. They're like twizzly. They're really well done. There's nothing wrong with them. I just tend to prefer a broader, flatter handle for a handle. But the mouthfeel of the bowls on these, it's almost like they just don't even exist. They're so thin and so smooth and clean that it just, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. They're just amazing. Then I was honored and thrilled to be gifted some spoons while I was there. I got a beautiful little teaspoon by James. Thank you, James.
You're welcome.
And I got this lovely Rise Up and Carve Sunrise inspired spoon by Mr. Fang.
Cool one.
Nice.
And
that handle's really nice to like see it and handle it. That gouge work's nice.
It's spectacularly well done. And the thing that's amazing is, and it barely shows up on this camera, but when you look at how the detailing around this little pointed finial up on the top and how he scalloped that out, really impressive. The camera's not really going to pick it up well, but that goes all the way around and really, really beautifully done. It's a wonderful spoon and it feels great. Just a spectacular spoon. Grabbed this one from Mr. Nalagetti, which probably has the smoothest, glassiest, smooth surface of anything wooden I have ever touched. It's practically like it's like it was liquid glass, like Jared talked about at one point. It's smooth with like polishing paper from 9 micron to 4 micron to 1 micron. And
I think you can sand between coats as well.
Yeah, and it's just amazing. That incredible. I got this beautiful peach spoon from Jason. Thank you, Jason. This was, I love peach, and this is just a really cool, lovely spoon. I've used it several times now, and I love it. Thank you, Jason.
That's one of those non-Nalagetti templates that I continually do and do and do. I really enjoy that shape, that square shovel shape of it.
And then I got this one from Riley. So anyway, I could go on. I've got several more. I got James. I think this was you also, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were just going to hit on the favorites here, Chuck.
Yeah, sorry. I know if we all go through all of our treasure, we'll be here all day. So anyway, but the point of that was just that I really was so blessed and came away with so much that I honestly am having a hard time picking favorites. All right, so that was me. Who wants to go? Who else wants to go?
You didn't buy anything from Pat?
I'm waiting for the T-shirt, and I'm actually going to buy a pair of his chopsticks. The next set that comes up, I'm going to get a set of chopsticks.
I'll jump in with something from Pat.
And he gifted us, I think he gifted everybody there one of these hand-carved toggles that he was carving over the course of the 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
He did indeed.
And the great part about those is, the wood from that, he just picks up from the floor.
Yeah, it's all waste wood.
He's just picking up all the scraps and finding the right thickness and going for it. And that's just one of the more brilliant things, I think, just the way Pat is set up and the way he's doing things. I got this spoon from Pat, and Saturday night while it was raining, this was the spoon he was carving.
Wow.
And so I got to just sit with him and talk and watch him carve this. And, this is just a fantastic serving spoon. and I think this is English walnut. Oh no, hold it, it's butternut.
Oh,
Yep.
that's from Tamir.
Yeah, and so he was kind of extolling there's some really cool
That is gorgeous.
grain, and it was just a beautiful spoon. And
It is.
I just wanted it to. I always try and make it a point of doing that, of getting something from Pat. But one of the other things that I did this year, because now I've gotten to the point, like, I stopped selling anything about, I don't know, back in March.
Yep.
But so approximately 125% of what I sold this year, 10% of it I just gave to Pat as, here's a commission for the house.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it I spent, I spent it on other things. 3 of those things were scars for my wife and daughters. So it was kind of interesting. I went up, and the fact that people were, I felt really good about the fact that people bought things from me, bowls and cups and such, but just so people understood, like, all of that money ended up in another crafts person's pocket.
That's awesome.
I was also really honored that Roy wanted to trade one of my bowls for one of his cups. And this is my second of Roy's cups. This one is sugar maple that's been dyed with walnut husks, and it's just beautiful, and it is a great drinker. And the way it just hits your lip, it's just fantastic. And it's also great. I do a lot of granola and berries and yogurt when I'm not eating bacon and eggs, and it does that well. So this is a sycamore bowl that's got some interesting grain, and I was able to leave a little cambium layer here. And this was the first bowl that got turned on that lathe that I brought. And I built that lathe because Pat had mentioned last year, he's like, I really think it'd be awesome if we had a pole lathe here next year. And, one thing led to another, and I got going on that, but also life gets in the way. And so I ended up actually putting that lathe in the back of my Jeep and brought it up. It had never been tested.
Wow.
So it was like I was I was really happy that it didn't fall apart. Also, Don traded me one of my bowls for one of his spoons, and this I've never had really one of these sort of square fronts to a spoon before, and it's wonderful. This is I just pulled this off the drying rack because it's just getting used, and the smoothness and the way it just fits in your hand and fits in your mouth is just wonderful. And then probably my biggest highlight, and my apologies for the painter's tape, but today's painting day. So it's just a pretty simple maple bowl, but the outside of this bowl was done by Jared. And for those of you that were there, it was Jared's like a real craft hero of mine, and like the chance to meet him and watch him get shit-faced drunk with a local priest, that was a treat in and of itself. But the fact that he like tried out my lathe and kind of gave it the thumbs up and said, here's a couple of things that you might want to think about, and also just shared some information about cups and thicknesses and just some of his general, approach was just, it would, to some degree, a little bit surreal, but also just incredibly like rewarding. And, to get some of that information and just kind of hang out with somebody that you really, really admire.
It's pretty cool. He wasn't there as a teacher. If he was there as a teacher, it would have been a different.
Yeah,
exactly.
The thing about Pat's gathering is it's literally just you come, you hang out, you carve together. Nobody's teaching classes. Nobody's, I mean, maybe somebody will demonstrate a technique or something, but it's not like paid classes or anything like that. Pat's not opposed. If somebody wanted to, he's said that he would wall off one of the back room on the one side if somebody wanted to teach like a paid class. He's open to having people do that, but that's not what the experience generally is about.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something, just the shared information.
Yeah.
This is my third year attending, and I learned a ton. And as most of you know, I don't really do very much in spoons. For me, it's all bowls.
Yeah.
And carved bowls and both pole lathe bowls. So to get a chance to watch Roy and what he does with his carved bowls and to talk with him about the tools that he makes, here's a guy who wants to undercut a bowl in a certain way. And so, his solution to it was, well, I'll make a tool that actually does that. And so, Roy, as far as I'm concerned, has taken things to a significant next level. And he's probably one of I would call him the best unknown craftsperson that I've ever been exposed to.
Agreed.
Because outside of the folks that go to the spoon gathering, most people don't know him because he's more interested in making beautiful things than marketing them, which is both a glorious and it's a wonderful thing, but at the same time, I feel bad because he deserves a ton of recognition and quite a bit of compensation for the work that he makes.
Absolutely.
But he was helping. He helped kind of get started on tools. So there's definitely sharing of techniques and sharing of knowledge. But yeah, I appreciate the fact that there are no organized classes. I love the fact that you wake up in the morning and cook your breakfast and somewhere along the second cup of coffee, figure out what you're going to do. And, this year, the number one priority was always figuring out when I was going to the water hole.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is some pictures of one of those hooks that he designed. This is just a rounded one, a choker one. He's got another version of this which actually has a much tighter curve up at the top. It's almost like it doubles back in order to enable him to get, whoops, that's my dirty one. Here's the clean one.
Yeah,
that's to enable him to get clean cuts up under this rim, which is undercut. And
it's a good tool.
Just amazing.
It's a bit tricky to use, but once you kind of get it, it does the job. It's interesting.
I thought George would be really pleased to see that Roy is using his pistol handle, in Roy's case, it's a T handle, but on his Twicka-cam. So you can get that grip on the end to really get leverage when you're twisting it.
Yeah, I look forward to making some tools with Roy.
Sorry, I interrupted you, Martin.
Oh, no, that was it.
Awesome. Well, thank you. So who else has anything they want to jump in and share about the weekend?
I would like to show a couple spoons.
Let me stop sharing here.
Probably two craftspeople that are very, very talented and not known. This one here is from Peter, Pat's older apprentice, the larger apprentice. It is an amazing spoon. He's a very, very talented young man.
Yeah, I got a couple of his last year.
Yeah,
Past apprentices?
yeah, his 17-year-old son, and then his 14-year-old son carved this spoon
Ooh.
in black walnut, which is a equally very, very, very nice spoon.
Yep.
It is something that runs in the family. He's done a wonderful job teaching them. And then the Dragon Lady, the Coal Rose, and you probably won't be able to see on.
She is awesome.
Yeah, very talented family. And also got and then Pat, an eating spoon for Pat, and I got a couple. I was very impressed by the whole family. And the pizza, his wife's pizza was.
Oh my God. The pizza party Saturday night, his family made the most amazing pizzas on all these big cast iron, like flat skillets and pots and stuff, and brought them out to us. And I mean, the pizza just kind of kept coming out, and it was, it was amazing. So good.
That pizza saved the rainy day. Like
Totally.
You know, nobody was wanting to go outside and cook or anything like that. And next thing you know, man, just endless cast irons of from scratch homemade pizza.
Yeah.
The crust, oh, it was just phenomenal. And you know, she brought out one wave, and we all like, you know, had our couple pieces and was polite about it. But damn, if they didn't come out with another wave, and I mean, you got your fill of pizza. It was delightful.
It was amazing.
Good time.
Gangster, what'd you get? You're muted. You got to unmute.
There we go. All right. Yeah, I got a few things. Top, obviously, is the Roy Bowl, as we all know. I mean, I went for the reddish hues.
Yeah.
That was the other one. That was the other one I was really sorely tempted by.
So I got a matching pair in this hues here. I bought one of them, and then he traded me for some leather work I'm doing for him on
Nice.
the side here, the other one. And I got 2 spoons from Roy.
Yep.
This one's got kind of a nice flat faceted handle on the back. It's really he touted this. He said, "Oh, that one's used, but it's the smoothest spoon I've ever made." And it really, like you were saying, Chuck, it just, the mouthfeel on these is unbelievable.
Yep.
It's just like glass. It's a neat little bent eater. Got something from the Dragon Lady.
Oh yeah, so that was a great one.
Nice.
I always like to try to buy something from the kids, you know, because they look forward to it all year. They bring their little stash out, and I usually bring them some scraps and stuff and give them leather and buy something off of them because it makes them feel encouraged.
Yep.
Got this cool bowl from James that I really like. It's got a really neat texture to the inside of it, and I really like that a lot.
Go ahead.
I was super stoked to be able to get a hold of one of Jared's spoons finally. And,
Nice.
Boy, is this a really nice spoon. I really haven't used it yet. It's got kind of a big bowl to it compared to maybe
typical Jared.
an eating spoon by Roy, which I find really pleasing. Jared's bowl is a little bit big, so I see myself really only using the tip maybe.
Yeah.
But I guess that's pretty typical of the Swedish style carving that he does. And then I got this from Don, this little mini guy with a big bowl and a small handle, and I was really glad to get a hold of Don's spoon. So I haven't had one yet. And then I got this really cool one from Chuck.
Oh yes.
we've been using this around the house to serve with, you know, like mashed
Nice.
potatoes, or macaroni and cheese.
Glad to hear it. Awesome.
I meant to ask you, Chuck, what is this? Is this black walnut?
It is.
Yeah, it's got a really cool tail flip on it. I mean, it's got, you can hold it way back here and you get some good leverage on it. Really cool spoon, Chuck. So I appreciate you sending this one my way.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And then I buy a whole bunch of stuff from Pat. I probably spent like $50 on Pat just to show my support. And then I gift those spoons throughout the year. You know, that's what I give out at Christmas and whatnot.
That's a great idea. I like that.
Just because it, you know, the stuff he puts out at the gathering is sort of like one-offs, and it's not the real show spoons he puts on the site, but they're all unique in their own individual way, and it gives him a good amount of support and helps pay for the facilities and everything, because he does that out of pocket. Yeah, so those are my favorites.
Awesome.
This was my 4th year attending. I probably I don't really like big gatherings anyhow. You know, I don't know how much of a people person I really am, but I like that it's just super laid back, just like you're hanging out with your buddies around the fire. You can sling back a few drinks and hoot and howl at night if you want to, and go at your own pace. You can take a swim if you need to, and it's super chill. So that's really what keeps me coming back. Plus, Pat's become one of my best buds, so you know, anything I can do to keep him supported and get to spend time with him and his family, I'm down to do. It was nice to see some new faces. It was really great to see James and Jason come up.
Hope to be a regular.
Yeah, and Tamir, who drove all the way out Saturday to be there, just for pretty much Saturday, like mid-afternoon till Sunday. So I was pretty impressed with that. Unfortunately, he's up in the wilds in New Hampshire this weekend, so he can't be on here with us. But
it's a cabin. It's not that.
Well, whatever.
To see, you know, how it goes with people that come out the first year and just maybe they're a little sheepish. That's how I was. The first year I came out, I was a little sheepish. I sort of sat off to the side with my stuff. You know, I didn't really know anybody, and then you just kind of, you know, and then I was like, all right, this is cool. I didn't stay very long. I think I stayed about a day and a half and then peaced out, you know. But then the next year I came out of my shell a little bit more, and then the next year, and now. You know.
So to that end, I want to tell another story, and a lot of you guys on here have already heard it, but for the sake of the fact that we're recording it and others might watch it down the road. I don't know if you guys talked at all there was this guy Saturday who was sitting over by the refrigerator, Grant Lauer, who was carving spoons, and he had a box full, you know, like a lot of us do of spoons. And so this is the spoon. It was pretty, his spoons were relatively rough. There was, you know, lots of tear out, they weren't the most refined spoons on the planet. You know, a little chunky, and they were okay. And I like to, you know, like other shows, I like to find sort of like the newer folks and encourage them and all of that. So I wanted to trade a spoon with him. And so I found this one. I thought it was sort of like one of the better ones in his bunch. And so I traded him the spoon that I carved for Rise Up and Carve Spoon Template Challenge #1, which was Don's big, bold eating spoon. Yeah. And I thought it was one of my nicer spoons, you know, that I've done, and I really enjoyed it. So there's that part of you that's kind of like, oh man, that was like my last eating spoon that I had to trade. And I was kind of like, I wanted to give it away, but at the same time, there's a part of you that's kind of like, oh, I like that spoon. It's like one of my favorites. Do I really want to trade it for this really rough little spoon, right?
That's when you know you got to let it go.
Just being real, exactly. And so I prayed, and then God was like, Chuck, let it go. I was like, all right. So I offered to trade, and he was like, "Wow, really? Are you sure?" I was like, "Absolutely, Grant." So I started talking to him. I was like, "Well, how'd you get into carving?" Like, because he sort of indicated he was a new spoon carver. He hadn't really been carving very long, and so I said, "Well, how'd you get into carving?" He's like, "Well, I've been carving lots of other kinds of stuff for a long time." I'm like, "Really? Like what?" So he pulled out this picture from his wallet of his business card with this little caricature dude. And I was like, "Holy crap, you did that?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's fantastic. Do you have any of your caricature carvings with you?" He's like, "Yeah." So I was like, "Well, can I see them?" He's like, "Sure." He pulls out this bag, like this big Ziploc bag with all these beautiful caricature ornaments in it that were to die for. I'm like, "Dude, you've been holding out this whole time?
Oh,
Put
I
these
wish I would have seen that.
put
I
these
didn't know
things
that.
out." So
Yeah.
I'm looking through, and then I immediately, my eyes fell on this guy, which, as all of you know probably of me, I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. And this guy just immediately made me think of Treebeard, who's like one of my favorite characters. And I was like, "Oh, dude, I got to have that." And I'm like, "How much do you charge for these?" And he's like, "Usually about 50, maybe 75. I was like, "Really?" I'm like, I got to have this." And he's like, "Oh, well, why don't you just take it? Because that spoon of yours is really nice." I was like, "Seriously? Are you sure? Because I'll happily pay you for it." And he was like, No, just take it." So I thanked him profusely. But I was like, talk about karma, man. That was
Karma rarely
right.
works that fast.
I was just like, "Thank you, God. That was amazing." And so I went over immediately. I started telling most people that I could get a hold of that would listen to me, "You got to go see this guy's stuff because it's incredible." So that was, I think, probably my,
He can pick through pretty good.
yeah, that was, I think, my, if I had to pick like an eye-opening favorite experience of the weekend, that was it.
He was a good time. Grant's a good guy. Enjoyed hanging out with him.
Yeah, he's from up in Connecticut. So anyway, he said he's not too active on Instagram, so I couldn't really tag him there. But if you look him up or you Google him, you'll find his contact info. And he's got an Etsy shop, but he doesn't really have much up in there right now. But really, really good, nice guy. So that was that story. So let me, you know what? I'm gonna share my screen again because we've talked about it a couple times. I thought it might be nice to kind of tell the story of the one of everybody's favorite places as the weather was so stinking hot. You guys able to see my screen?
Yep.
So this is the swimming hole. About a mile or so, maybe a mile and a half down the road from Pat's, there's a field, and the property owner that owns this land lets people kind of walk along the edge of his cornfield back into the woods, and there's this river that runs down through there. I forget the name of it. Conesteo or something like that. And there's this amazing, like, rock ledges, little waterfall and swimming hole that was a very welcome relief from the heat and an opportunity to wash up. And it's probably like right here in this part of the hole, it's over my head, and I'm 6'4". So it was probably about 7 feet deep or so, right in that deepest part. And then out here, it's, about 3-4 feet deep, something like that. And man, I don't know about you guys, but that was definitely one of my favorite parts of the weekend.
Yeah, so how that started was three years ago. Roy and I were sitting around carving, and we were like, "Man, we're so hot. Pat, isn't there? Can we rinse off somewhere around here?" And he says, "Well, I think there might be some sort of swimming thing down the road somewhere." Now, before this year, he had never been there once. This was his first time ever going down there. And his family didn't even know it was there either. But they said sometimes they saw cars down there pulled off to the side of the road. So me and Roy got to thinking, all right, well, let's go see if we can't find this place. They said, well, we think it's past the barn, you know, the barn that has those cars up on top of it.
Yeah.
And just a little bit beyond the cornfield. So we go down and we start poking around back there, me and Roy. Now, at that time, there was a big barbed wire fence all along the front of that cornfield, which wasn't really a cornfield. It was just tall grass. And so you had to duck under that barbed wire fence, walk through chest-high grass. We're like, oh, we don't even know if we're in the right place. We didn't know if anybody was going to yell at us. But eventually we started to hear this, you know, sort of waterfall sign and the sound of the trickling water, and we found it. And boy, has that been a lifesaver ever since.
Absolutely. It's probably one of the best swimming holes I think I've ever been in.
I couldn't believe that they had never been down there before.
Yeah, Pat actually went this year for the first time. I didn't get pictures of him in, but it's funny looking back, like I always think I take a ton, and I do, I take quite a few pictures, but I tend to not focus on taking pictures of people. I don't know why. I tend to take pictures of objects, landscapes, impressions. So I had to like kind of push myself to get pictures of people this year, but I was really pleased to get this shot of Roy one of the evenings working. I thought that was one of the better types of portrait-y type shots that I took.
That's a great shot of him.
Got a head cam and some ratcheting tie downs. I like it.
Right? So last year I took pictures. This was his work holder, and it's like a beautifully, how do I describe this? It has two jaws that would slide in a mortise that you would wedge into place, and then you could lock the cup in with it. And so this year he pulled it out and the jaws were gone. And I'm like, well, what happened to your jaws? Because I was so impressed by those jaws. They're like everything he does, his work holding devices are just immaculately constructed. And so he goes, actually, I found that just using a simple ratchet strap works way better. I was like, okay, it may not look as elegant, but man, it sure works. And then this is his Easy Rider, which I think is probably one of the coolest frickin' spoon mule / shave horses I've ever seen. It's just incredible.
That thing should be in the Smithsonian.
Absolutely. Now he says it's actually over-engineered. It's bigger. It's heavier than it needs to be. He was saying that if he were to do it again, he would make it not as heavy duty. But the thing is just a work of art in and of itself.
It's very American. It's
Yep.
over-engineered.
Here's James here,
And it
hollowing
lives in
out.
his living room as well at home.
There's a shot of James in action.
James, did you end up finishing that bowl? James, you still on here?
Yeah, he muted himself. He's grabbing it.
That's it, eh?
There it is. Nice.
I used that palm I got from you on the rim.
Oh, nice. That looks great.
Yeah, so really digging those tools. I just got another order. Your other order came in too, so this is Floyd's.
Yeah, did that axe loop come in?
Yeah, it's all going on the belt and going in the woods.
Oh,
this
nice.
afternoon, as soon as I get done here. Yeah, that's I love the hammered rivets on it, man. Really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice.
Cool.
Thanks, sir, for all your leather needs.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it. Thanks for the support. Yeah, that's a cool looking bowl, man. I'm glad to see you finish that up.
Yeah, you got to get that one done so I can work on the next. The idea.
So for any of you folks that weren't there, is there anything that you'd like, do you have any questions, anything you'd like to hear us talk about that we haven't talked about?
I was mostly curious as to what a day was like there, and it sounds like you guys talked about it a bit. Wait, like what were the were there main hallmarks of the day? Like, did people come together to eat? Was there were there carving circles? Was there like a fire pit? Like what were the commonalities from day to day? Were there any like recurring rituals or?
Yeah,
Well,
I found that just getting up in the morning and you just kind of made your way down to the fire, and there were always people there making coffee, making meals. So you started your day in a very, what I consider, communal way. And often, like on Sunday morning, I had to leave. Somehow I had a pound of bacon and a steak left over. And so those got cooked up around the fire and got eaten around the fire by anybody who could get any of that bacon or steak out of Pat's hand. So it was like.
And it was amazing bacon, gotta say.
It's just like, so there's no quite, like, meals don't happen, nothing happens at a set time. There's always something going on, and there's always, occasionally, like, one or two people will be like, hey, I'm going to the watering hole, and a car will leave, maybe somebody will jump in along with them. But, like at any given time, I don't think anything more than, a quarter of the people are doing the same thing. I think people are just, some people are carving inside, some people are carving outside, some people moved up to where their tents were. So like that open flexibility where there's enough communal aspects to it, but there's also enough sort of time alone, because some of us are mixtures of introverts and extroverts, and I think one of the beautiful things about the whole gathering is that people could do whatever they want, and people give everybody enough space to let them do that.
Yeah.
And so, if you're axing things out and on an axe block, most of the axe blocks are inside, but there are some that are outside. And, I like Jason and James helped me move my lathe from a spot that I had picked out earlier that was brutally in the sun to a spot that was like underneath the shade. So it's like this wonderful combination of, like, you can do your own thing, and there's lots of other people there that are, just interested in what's going on and taking the opportunity and helping people out and exchanging a lot of ideas. Pizza night, it was torrential downpouring, and Becky probably brought out, what'd you bring out, like 15 pizzas and cast iron?
Yeah, easily.
You can thank me for that pizza, by the way. That was my birthday present.
Ah.
I asked for that specifically. And you know how I paid for it was with chocolates. If you want to get on Becky's good side, you take her artisan chocolates and you drop those off the first night you arrive. And then she'll say yes when you say, Becky, will you please make us pizza?
Now, does she like white chocolate or dark, or white or milk or dark?
I cover all my bases. I get her dark chocolate and milk chocolate.
Okay. That's some good information.
I was gonna say, thanks for the inside tip.
And chocolate for Becky.
Are you saying she made 15 pizzas without advanced planning?
She's unbelievable.
Well, they had done something similar the year before.
They did pizza last year too, yeah.
Yeah.
And
but I
they
think
had,
it was like when the rain started, and I mean, because it was coming down.
yeah, I mean, it was like, yeah,
you could not cook outside.
yeah, it was a torrential downpour.
But she makes all that dough by hand. So I asked her like right when I woke up, I said, hey, do you make pizza? She's like, I gotta make the dough, and then she made the dough. So I mean, it's like unbelievable that she was able to pull through with all that. I don't know anybody that has that many cast iron skillets, to be honest with you.
Right?
Oh,
I've
agreed.
never seen so much cast iron in one spot in all my life. It's amazing.
And just out of nowhere, it was, yeah. And then
Yeah.
Martin treated us all with pie afterwards. It was a
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah, Martin.
Thank you. That was awesome. That was
That
so good.
That was totally selfish on my part. I love pie,
Me too.
and I brought no desserts. And so I gave Pat's daughter, who was going down to the market, like $20. And she goes, well, you know, what kind of pie do you want? And I'm like, I like apple and I like blueberry, but just, you know, if that's there, that'd be great. She's like, so you want 2 pies? And I'm like, I want $20 worth of pie.
$20 worth of pie.
And she's like, what? And I'm like, just buy as much pie as you can. And she came home with like 3 pies and change. And I'm like, nah, that's like gas money. Like, we're good. I was like, I was super happy. Like, that was a big, as far as I was concerned, it was like, there's pie. All's right with the world.
That was awesome.
Pizza
Right after
pie
that
and fruit pie. And
it was, yeah. I didn't mind the rain at all. That was a wonderful evening.
Yep.
And you know what I've been thinking about, Jason, is those pretzels of yours. You're gonna have to have to get me that recipe. Jason made these amazing artisanal pretzels. He had an almost unlimited supply of them coming out of his store.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
those were awesome. I didn't realize you made those, Jason.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
It's just Snyder's hard pretzels, but the batch is like 2 of the big bags. So I had like 3 pounds of pretzels and then you just season it with oil, and then you like slow bake it and stir them, and they're very addicting, and they're always a treat late night when the drinks come out, and that's what they do.
Addicting is absolutely the right word.
That's the key to my heart. Give me that salty, buttery, fatty snacks. I'm there.
Yep.
Since I'm unmuted, I never shared my prize pieces.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Go.
Of course, the journeyman, large apprentice, small apprentice. I had to get the whole collection. I'm a sucker for walnut, and I like supporting the kids as well. It was really exciting. Making trades. The Dragon Lady has a spoon of mine. Like, we traded. I gave her a spoon, and then I gave her another spoon to Cole Ross and send back. And she was just thrilled that somebody would give her some of their work for her to Cole Ross on. So I'm really excited to see what she comes up with there from that. Then, of course, the Roy Rock Bowl. This was a black walnut. It's really cool that it has the heartwood, sapwood separation kind of like on the rim.
That's awesome.
That was a piece of black walnut that I harvested and traded with him at the Philly Sloyd gathering that we do there. And then, of course, Martin's bowl, just top notch. I was smart and hit him up ahead of time and told him what I wanted. So as soon as he showed up, he had mine aside and said, here, look at this. And nobody else got to see it before I even. I take that back. He handed it to James. He got me and James mistaken. He's like, here, look at this. And he hands it to James. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, that was like what I wanted. And so I waited till James like set it down and walked away. And then I was like,
I mean, in my head, I'm like, I'm coming back to get that bowl. Come on.
It is really nice. It's made its way into the kitchen as a regular user for. I mean,
Martin is really just a very good craft person. Sorry to interrupt, but this thing stays by my side. Eat and drink out of it all the time.
Yeah, you know, I think I forgot to get something from you, Martin.
There's you're gonna need to wait. There's not a whole lot left.
And then my other gem was.
It's funny how that happens. How you just get to wheeling and dealing, and you might miss somebody.
Yeah, I forgot to get it. Not Jared. Don.
Yeah, Matt, we need to need to figure something out because you grabbed one of my. I think you grabbed a handle bowl last year. So if there's something that you're interested in, let me know. It's almost, later this week it's going under 90. There you go. You got the
Is
snips.
this one yours? From
Yeah.
last year? Yeah. That's what I keep all my stickers in.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
good.
What do they call this? Is this a snib scowl?
Yeah, that's what Jared calls them. So that's what I call them.
Let's let Jason finish off.
Sorry
No
about that,
worries.
Jason.
I'm not worried. As you were speaking of Jared, I got one of Jared's spoons as well.
Nice.
Super nice cherry, and I agree with Matt that the bowl is huge, but the feel of it in your mouth, it's kind of like that first template challenge, the Dawn template, where the bowl looked so big, but once you use it, it's not as overwhelming as it looks. I was kind of torn between two of the spoons that he had set out. I was like, I don't know which one I want. Like, I'll let my decision happen organically. So I kind of like stepped back, was like hanging out and keeping an eye on the table. So when Fang went over and did one of these things with his fingers, I knew he was taking a spoon out. And I was like, okay, my decision's going to be made because those are the two best spoons on the table. And he's going to get one of them and I'm going to get the other one. So this one's a really nice cherry that has radially split, has really nice grain. My camera's lighting super shitty here, so you can't see it, but it is sweet. And his tiny little finial on the end.
Yeah.
On it. I mean, it's a really nice spoon for sure. And it was cool, like, you hear these celebrity big name people and, I sat next to him and I threw wood chips the same way he threw wood chips. Like, there was no starstruck, no fame. Like, everybody was just there chilling together. It was cool. It was, casual conversation. And, granted, he might have had a little bit more knowledge to share than I may have, but I got my dumb comments in just the same.
I mean, Jason, this is a wonderful eating spoon I got from you. Don't discount yourself too much. Really enjoy this spoon.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I'm keeping it simple.
I like the collection you're building, Jason. You're becoming quite the spoon aficionado. I like that direction.
Oh, yeah. Did Pat do his show and tell? I'd heard before about Pat's show and tell.
No, you didn't do it this year.
But Jason, Matt.
I think he was he was a little concerned about having that many people wrapped around a table.
Yeah.
That close.
Yeah, we had quite a big group of us still. Last year was a much smaller group by the end of the weekend that was left. And so this year, I'm sure you guys all saw it. I posted it up there, but we got a group shot of everybody towards the end. I'll just share my screen real quick so you can see. Boom, but that's who we had left. This was at about noon on Sunday, 1 o'clock, something like that.
I'm glad you thought to get that shot. I always think every year we should try to get a big group.
Yeah, I wish I'd thought to do it Saturday. Well, Saturday we would have been under the.
I always forget. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just worked. We were going to do a Rise Up and Carve picture, and then Tom joined us, and then everybody joined us. So
we just figured we might as well just bring everybody in.
Old Tom.
Tom. On our weekend.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, what a absolutely great experience. Favorite event of the year, without a doubt.
Definitely.
Made my year. Let's stop buying cream again.
It's the only thing that's on my calendar and stays there. Standard issue every year.
Yep. Any other questions? We've been going for about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 25. So
There was no impromptu like skill sharing class, just kind of one-on-one. He's standing next to you, so he offers ideas kinds of thing?
I went to Roy and said I wanted to carve a bowl, and he was very, very excited, or happy, I should say, to show me anything and everything. And then Jared, and a lot of people watched Martin turn. I watched him turn for a while.
Yeah, I was really kind of bummed that I missed Jared turning. I totally missed that whole thing because I was so heat averse. I didn't want to be out there.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
that was-
was absolutely wild because, like, you know, I have a slow plotting technique because, you know, I'm 56 years old and fat. And so, you know, Jared gets on that thing and starts pumping, and like just the ribbons of wood that are just flying. And I'm like, holy crap. Like, you know, it was insane. He was like at it, and he hollowed things out and, you know, subtly changed the shape of the outside of the bowl and was like, okay, this is good. Here, you know, you can do this. But he was also having a good time because you know, I had some of his tools, but he was like, oh, let me see Sharif's tools. And so he was like, oh, this is cool. What, like, you know, how these are sharpened up and what they can do. And, you know, because Jared, you know, has a style to the hooks that he makes, and Sharif's are different. And he was, you know, contrasting one to the other. So it was, yeah, like that was super cool. You know, that happened. And I think he just he was almost on his way out the door. Or I think that may have been right before the rain started.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
right before the rain started.
Yeah, because they left at like, I think noon or 1 o'clock, something like that on Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has that changed at all the way you turn now, or you think it will, watching him do it more fast, aggressively?
I will, there's no question in my mind that I will try to be more aggressive. You know, like I turn inside of a garage, and, you know, like I haven't turned actually since I got back, because every day it's been over 90 since I got back. And so I'm just like, I'm not doing that.
I just find that happens time and time again, that you do something one way and you refine it and you do it your way, and then you see another person do it with some greater degree of skill or competence or something, and then you immediately jump. You immediately make like a leapfrog.
Yeah, I would like to think that will I will most definitely be much more aggressive. He also pointed out a couple of things, like getting a rim on a bowl right can be a real challenge. And so he gave me a tip on, like, this is the best way to approach that, because of the grain orientation and the tool orientation. And I've already been able to add that to my repertoire at a much higher success rate than what I was doing previously.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm still.
Those are the intangible benefits of gathering with.
Oh, so next year when we go, I'm going to expect to get a new and improved version of this bowl, not this crap that you've been selling, you know, this year. I want to see some.
That's why I asked him.
Jared Bowl.
That's why I asked him, because I'm going to wait until he's.
Don't let this turn into your next camera experience, Kevin. Camera waited for the next greatest camera for what, 7 years, you said?
Oh, yeah, that's my problem.
I'm buying you a bowl for Christmas.
Yeah, hey, Martin, thanks for all the work you did building that pole lathe to bring out for us all to try out. That was really cool. I appreciate
That was amazing.
It was. I learned a ton, and like I took a class with Peter Galbert. My son and I took a Windsor chair class, and if I had not taken that class, I would not have been able to make that lathe, because getting the leg tenons and the upright tenons right, it's the exact same technique as building Windsor chair. And so, like, that was just like the fact that I was able to do that, and I had a ton of fun. Thank you, Matt. I mean, that it's much appreciated. It was a bit of work, and my son was a huge help with that, because cutting through a 4-inch slab with a circular saw requires some pretty decent planning. And when he's there, like, my stress level goes way down. Just because I know that like the two of us are together and we're gonna be able to get through it. We've worked together so much now that he can figure out like where my head's at and do the right thing. It was cool to do, and hopefully this COVID stuff, hopefully next year I'll get a chance to do like demos and fairs and stuff like that, and I'll be ready. And yeah, coming up, and now that we have a good spot to set up at Pat's, hopefully we'll be able to get a lot of people trying out a bowl.
It was so cool to just be able to get my hands on one, I mean, I've been toying around with the idea of building one for a while, but lacked the real motivation. But getting my hands on yours and seeing how kind of fun it could be to dive into it, I think I'm almost there.
That's awesome. And if you're in Erie, right?
Yep.
Give me a couple of weeks head start, and I would love to come out and help somebody else build a lathe.
Oh, wow. All right.
That being said, I was thinking next year that we might build a lathe at Pat's.
That would be fun.
But bring timber in the centers and go from there.
That'd be cool.
That'd be stupid fun.
Yeah, and then we can leave that. Then you can leave that lathe there. Give it to Pat.
I know he said he's interested in having sort of stuff that we build there and then stays there for the gathering. So to like have a couple of shave horses, have a lathe, maybe.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, I got a lot of, and it's pine, but it's like there's like 3 or 4 trees that are down, so it's like free wood. It's easy to bring up a slab.
I like the idea of like the pre-weekend type courses that was talking about. Like if you wanted to come up early and do something like that, he had said.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Facetiously about like making cedar shingles and putting them on the backside of his house there. But I was like, dude, that's an ingenious idea. Like, why wouldn't we do that? That's really cool.
I think that'd be awesome. I'd totally be up for taking the full week. Yeah. Like just Monday, get up there Monday through Sunday and build. Cool. That'd be awesome. James, I'm sorry about the tree.
Oh, no, I'm sorry about your car. The tree's good there. Trees are free.
This one's still there, and G said we're good. So I don't think cherry is necessarily 100% great for a lathe, but
the pine works pretty good.
Cool. Can you get a 3-inch slab?
Yeah. Yep. I did a 4 on my on mine. Mine's made out of a pine tree. Yeah.
I found the ash was like crazy at 4 inches.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my indoor lathe. Like you said, it's just too darn hot to do much turning. I finished up what I was going to do on that plate, and that's about it for now until it cools off.
Yeah, those centers look awesome. Sorry, Chuck.
No, that's okay. I just want to, I'm going to do one last screen share thing here and just show you some of the treasure trove that was there to pick through. This was a little bit of Roy's work and others.
He had a couple things there.
Yeah, he had a few things, a bunch of Don's stuff here.
His consistency is awesome.
Right? I mean, look at the call rosing on Don spoons is another thing that I was just drooling over. Absolutely gorgeous. I love the way he does these little swoopy scallops in the side of his handles.
Those little, I don't know, maybe they're cityscapes or something. They're like watercolored.
Yeah. Like
cityscapes are really unreal.
Yeah, they're from Rome. They're scenes from Rome when he was there that he did. They're incredible. I think it was one of them. It was either this one or maybe I forget. One of them was the one that I think I really wanted to get, and I just didn't have enough money to be able to do it.
That's the thing about the gathering. You got to save up your cash and show up with a wad, man.
Totally. I burned through $240 like that.
Yeah, easy.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I spent 150 with Pat alone.
Wow, nice. Good on you.
It's good.
So this was the, by the way, the what did he call it? The
sign-in block, sign-in beater.
yeah. So everybody signed their names on the. Steve Antonucci had this big rough kind of turned mallet that he had every.
Two.
Yeah, he brought one for a user and one as for the sign-in. And then, so that was pretty much that.
Thanks for sharing, man. When I saw the pictures on Instagram of everybody there, and I wanted to be on that first Rise Up and Carve because I thought that'll be the one where everybody talks about it. And then it's cool that you planned. It was cool that you planned this purposeful one so that you could talk unabashedly. You didn't feel like you were taking over the channel. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, exactly. I wish we could have had Don here and Tamir as well, but life gets in the way. It happens. All right, so I'm gonna, unless there's any further questions or anything that anybody wants to talk further about, I'm gonna stop recording because we're already up to like an hour and a half or more at this point.
What are you gonna do with this? Put it up on the website or something?
Yeah, I gotta see if I can figure out a way to get it posted somewhere. It's so big. I don't know if I can post it. Maybe I can post it to YouTube. Start a Rise Up YouTube channel or something. But I'll have to
watch us.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said, what bozos are going to want to watch us?
Yeah, that may very well be true. Maybe we'll be the only ones ever going back and watching it. All right. Well, thanks everybody. And to anybody else out there, get yourself next year to Pat's 6th Irregular Spoon Gathering. It's always the week after 4th of July. And we'll look forward to seeing you all there. Cheers.